And we are live, by the way.
Oh, indeed we are. Hello, everyone.
And we have people in here. Let's see. They've already been chatting in the storm. Okay. Is that better now? Say something.
Can you hear me okay?
Okay. Perfect.
Sweet.
Hi, Johnny. Hi, Glennis. Oh, you've already been chatting with them too. Hi, the wild one. And hi, Simon. Hi,
Hello.
Martha. All right. Let's see here. All right. Perfect. So yeah, it's like 7 a.m. for me. So I'm on the East Coast. So people that are even on the West Coast, like California, it's like 4 a.m. for them. So I think we're gonna have
my perfect time.
That's about the time you get up, right?
You don't want to see me live at that time, though.
Yeah. It's like we're zombies, right? Yeah, I don't even get up that early. Maybe to go to the bathroom, but that's about it. So, so guys, we are here with Jen of Science to Soul with Jen. Thank you so much for joining me today, honey.
Thank you for having me.
It's wonderful. So, I would say that we're just going to wait for a couple of minutes for people to start rolling in, but a lot of the people that would normally watch are still sleeping, at least on my side of it. So they will catch up when they get up, I'm sure. So I'm just going to get started. All right.
Yeah.
So your channel name, what made you name it Science to Soul with Jen or Tarot with Jen?
I think just the combining of my two loves. I love the science aspect of everything, and that when you start looking at the research, that combines really beautifully with some of the paranormal stuff as well. So all the quantum physics type stuff, chakras, like measuring the energy centers, all of that. And yeah, so it's always fascinated me from that perspective, but then bringing that down to like that personal kind of soul level. So yeah, just the love of both and combining the two of them.
Perfect. I've never understood when people have said, well, oh, I forgot to turn that off, that the science doesn't support it. Well, how would you know? Because a lot of that's not even, just because it hasn't been discovered doesn't mean that it's not real. I mean, that's what science is all about, right?
There is a lot of science that's supporting it. Yeah.
Depending on what the subject matter is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, let me just turn this off. It begins.
Yeah, I warned everyone, don't call me after 9:00.
So how would you label your spiritual path?
I wouldn't. I don't have any kind of label for it whatsoever. I draw from so many different things and things that I probably don't even know they have a name of what they come from. So like I was brought up, did 12 years of like Catholic schooling, and it wasn't shoved down my throat. So I don't have bad experiences of it. And it wasn't something pushed in my family. But even now there's certain aspects of that I still resonate with. Like there's saints and angels that for different reasons, like after I was in a car accident when I was a teenager, even before that, my whole family would have St. Christopher's in their cars when they were driving. So because he's like the saint of, safe travel. So after that became very important to me. And, St. Michael pretty much for the same reason, like that protection aspect of that. So, yeah, but I mean, that's a teeny tiny part of it. And I don't know, I guess there's elements I would draw on from Buddhism and but none of it fits any kind of a category. Like, it's just, and then there's the science aspect of it as well. That's really important to me, what science has proven. Like, I love that. I love the research of all the woo-woo stuff and everything. So I don't have a label at all. Yeah.
Perfect. Eclectic. You just draw from so many different, and it changes and grows, right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
And Masha, I do believe chakras are real. Absolutely. I'm just trying to say, because sometimes you get, even when they show the science, you'll have other scientists that say, that's not right. So I guess it's just a matter of believing in the possibilities anyways. This huge discussion that I've had with my son is about like whether or not the earth is alive, whether or not it's real. And there's a school of thought. Many people do not believe that it's a living thing. I definitely do.
Yeah, I remember telling my kids about the research done with water and putting intention into water, and then you freeze the water, you look at it under a microscope. Well, they already thought I was crazy. But when I told them that, it was like, oh my God, Mum, are you talking to water now? Or like, what? Water can talk back? You're not understanding. Do the research.
That's why you can actually dilute it as well, and it still carries the same memory. Mm-hmm. Like even if you had like a bottle of something and you only had a little bit left of that, and then you mixed it with water again, it retains that memory.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
It is.
I love it. So the next question is, were you raised in the path, but you were raised Catholic, right?
Yeah, I don't know if you'd say raised Catholic. I remember going to church with like family when I was really little. I've often wanted to ask if I'm the reason they stopped, because I was a shit of a kid. My paternal grandma was a very, very devout Catholic. And my dad was very anti it because they actually had a priest who lived beside them. So he would have to go to church and hear the priest going on about this, that, and the other, and then see completely different things actually happening with the priest. So that really put my dad off of the whole being a Catholic. And then we'd go to like midnight mass for Christmas. And then that kind of waned away. But yeah, even through my schooling, yes, we would go to church for different occasions, and we'd do our communion and our confirmation and all of that. But it's not something I ever remember having terrible experiences with, like from my perspective. Like we looked at religion class, particularly in high school, as being like the bludge subject where we did what we wanted. So I never had bad negative experiences of it, but it was also never forced on us either. Yeah.
So Masha says, water molecule study is so cool. Another Japanese person I do not remember. Hence, I go with spring water for tea and drinking. Yeah, mine is all spring water too.
Yeah, I can't remember the name either, Masha. It's a very long one. Hello, Michelle.
Hi, Michelle.
Paula.
Hi, Paula. Hi, Vicky. Oh my gosh, let's see who else I'm missing here. Hi, long-haired, skinny-eyed toe. I absolutely love that name. I know I always say that, but I just love it.
Just makes you want to sing.
Yes. Just break out in song and dance, right? So do you feel supported by your family now, on the path that you're on?
Yeah, my husband, he just goes along with whatever. And my kids think I'm crackers. They just think I'm the woo-woo mother. In saying that, my daughter, who was probably most, thinking I was crazy, has asked me for a few tarot readings.
Ooh, that's progress.
That was interesting. Yeah, my mum, she'll ask for tarot readings and she'll support it. My dad's quite scared of it. Always has been, because I kind of grew up with an aunt who was very into all of this, and we would go to psychic fairs with her. We get tarot readings done, and my dad never wanted to hear it. Like, I think in his mind, he's so scared of hearing something negative. But New Year's Eve, I had like my family there, and I was doing the year ahead readings for them. And my mum was saying to my dad, "See, it's not so scary." And he actually let me read his cards for him. So that was interesting. So, I mean, they're not all going out in any kind of huge support, but at the same time, they're not bothered by what I do either.
Right. That's great. That's perfect.
Yeah.
I think it's funny. You said that your daughter, now she's asked for a couple of readings. I'll ask my daughter, "Hey, can I read for you?" She's like, "Whatever. If you want to, go ahead." It doesn't matter to me, Mom, because I don't believe it. I'm like, "Okay, whatever. Never mind." So that's definitely a good thing.
Yeah.
Oh, hi, Patsy.
Yeah, and it's been good, because the last reading I did for her, a lot of stuff that came up, I did that probably a month ago, is all just starting to play out exactly the way the cards read. And it's like, "Remember that reading I gave you?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, I forgot you said that." So yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Hi, Aquarius. So,
Hi, Patsy.
do you feel a stronger connection with a certain element?
Probably fire. Because I don't follow like any kind of witchy path, so it's not in that kind of sense of working with elements. But definitely fire. I love the heat. I despise the cold. I, I was very fiery growing up. I'm not so much now. I'm relatively kind of cool and calm and collected in adulthood. But yeah, definitely fire of all of them, I would say. Yeah.
And you said that you're a Sagittarius, right?
Yeah.
Okay, which is a fire sign. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a favorite season of the year?
Summer.
I knew that was coming.
Always summer.
Yeah.
Yeah. I turn into cranky Jen in the cold months. So yeah. Drink wine and complain the whole time.
Oh my goodness. Well, you're so skinny. Doesn't surprise me that you need heat. You don't have any meat on those bones.
I even brought, because as I told you, I'm at my parents' house staying watching their dog. I even brought my little heater with me in case I get cold.
Yeah. So this is a silly question, but do you use divination? And if so, what kinds do you use?
I do. So tarot is the biggest one. Yeah, then there's oracle cards as well. Just starting to get into Lenormand, which is a good thing and a bad thing, because then there's going to be more decks that I want. And I have a lot of crystals, but I don't know if I would say I use them for divination purposes. Often I will pick them up and I'll look at them and I'll see different things in them and maybe take a message from that. But I don't do that on a regular basis. And occasionally I'll work with my pendulum. So that's probably, but yeah, tarot is definitely my biggest one.
Okay. Excuse me. So do you have some favorite tarot cards?
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah. So two of my all-time faves is definitely Tarot of the She. Yeah. Love this deck. And even though it seems kind of weird and odd images, like, this deck reads like perfection for me. And yeah, anyone who's followed my channel will know my absolute adoration for the Mary L Tarot. This is one of the 4 copies I have of this deck.
4. Why 4? That's a whole other subject to itself.
I have 2 first editions, one that's trimmed, this one that's not, and 2 second editions. And then I bloody found out from Simon, thanks Simon, that there's a gold gilded edition that exists out there in the world that's really rare. So yeah, at the moment, one of my faves is my Triumphi della Luna. And this is the Paradoxical Rose edition. I'm so in love with this. This made me deep dive into Marseille, and yeah, love this deck. I have a second copy of this because I'll be really distraught if something happens to it. And then probably the main other one I'm loving at the moment is my first edition Alice Tarot that I got. So I am really, really loving how this reads. Oh, keep forgetting that we're the wrong way.
I know, it's hard.
But these are beautiful. It reads so simply, so easily. So yeah, they're definitely at the top of the list at the moment. I don't think Tarot of the She, Triumphi della Luna, or my Maria will ever fall off that list. Yeah.
I love the Tarot of the She so much, especially like in the back of the book, the poems that come with the minor arcana.
Yeah.
They're so telling. She did such a wonderful job writing the guidebook.
Yeah.
And then hearing the stories about what her influences were while she was creating those, just phenomenal. I love, that's one of my top ones too. I love it. And I love how yours looks trimmed. It's so much better.
Yeah.
Isn't it trimmed?
I've got a second copy of this too, which is trimmed naked, totally naked.
Oh.
And even though it looks like a kind of complicated deck, it's one of my easiest reading decks. Like I can pick it up and get the best messages, whether it's a simple question or a really deep question. So yeah.
Do you think that that's partially because you feel a connection to the Fae, or it's just the deck itself?
Possibly. I think from the first time I saw the deck, I just knew I needed to have that deck. Like it just spoke to me the first time I saw it. So yeah, I don't know. It could be that. Yeah.
Huh? And do you know what your tarot birth cards are?
So mine comes straight down to a 4, so the Emperor. And I am nothing like the Emperor. I am not organized or structured or authoritative or any of those things. So I'm thinking maybe it's the stuff I need to learn in this lifetime is to be that organized, structured person. So yeah.
Well, depending on what system you're using or to determine that, you would also be the death card, 13.
Okay.
Transformation. Yeah. Does that make more sense to you?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, that would definitely resonate more. But I know, the way I've done it, mine doesn't come to 13 and then to 4. It just goes straight down to 4. Yeah.
So that's what your life path is as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
And does that not resonate with you?
No.
No.
I am not an organized, structured, any of that kind of a person. So, yeah.
It seems like you have good, strong foundations, though, I would say. I mean, you have a strong family foundation, don't you?
Yes and no. Yeah, definitely not comparable to, I guess the way some people grow up. But yeah, I wouldn't say it was emotionally stable in my household growing up or anything like that. So, yeah.
Well, you seem pretty damn stable to me. Just putting it out there.
Because you don't see the behind the scenes, Jen.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's right. You did say that you look like you're ready for work on the top and you're in your PJs on the bottom, right? You know what? I still think there's a balance in that, though.
Simon, I see you're saying I'm composed. Mostly composed, yeah. Depending on what area of our life we're talking about. But yeah.
That's what mine is death card. Okay, Aquarius. You people are causing me to learn tarot hot and heavy right now. I don't need anything else to collect. Yes, you do, Vicky.
Then you're in the wrong place.
With us. It's funny. So do you have a favorite tarot card out of the deck?
So the High Priestess is my favorite in the major arcana. And then I would say the Eight of Cups in the minor arcana. Yeah.
Okay. And what's significant about the Eight of Cups for you?
I honestly don't know. I'm not sure if it's just because when I first got back into tarot, and like so many of us, when we come back to the tarot, it's because like we're going through shit at the time and we're trying to figure stuff out and we're trying to kind of find ourselves again. And the Eight of Cups just kept coming up all the time, over and over and over again. And I knew what it was talking about. I knew what I needed to walk away from and leave behind. And until I did that, it would just appear. So I don't know if it was just because of that I really started to resonate with it and like it, because this card kept just done well showing up consistently. So yeah. And I love the High Priestess. To me, kind of is what embodies the whole tarot, that inner knowledge, those secrets, that wisdom. So yeah.
Perfect. Let's see. Do you know what your significator card in the tarot is?
No. And I've never been able to connect to just one. I can literally look at pretty much all of them and see it. And I know some people are so defined in, yes, I'm definitely, this court card. But I can't. As much as I've thought about it and tried to work it out, and there was one point I'm thinking, well, I've got to be one of these, and then I just kind of gave up and was like, well, no, you don't have to be just one of them. We all kind of embody all of them, and in different areas of my life, I embody different aspects of them. So yeah.
Sounds about right to me. But you are a psychologist, right? Or okay. So that is something I would think in my mind that a psychologist would say at some point, that we embody all of those different aspects, or we can, not necessarily that we do, but we can relate to those. Isn't that well, that's how I see the tarot anyways, is like personal development,
Absolutely. Yeah.
Let's see. So what decks are you currently working with?
So I've just done a lot of work with Shadowlands since I got it. So Shadowlands, my Alice Tarot, and my Triumph Della Luna are probably kind of the three main ones at the moment that I've been working with.
Yeah. Okay. Wonderful. I did just see your Shadowlands video yesterday that you put. That's a cool looking deck.
It is.
But now, who's that from?
Schiffer, and Monica Podersky is the artist author. Yeah.
It did remind me of the Mons Tarot.
Yeah.
I thought the comparison that you did it was good.
Yeah, really adorable deck.
So, would you consider yourself a collector? And if so, how many tarot decks do you have? Or how many decks do you have? Inquiring minds want to know.
Yeah, I guess I fall under the collector category now. All right, so we'll start with the lower ones. So I have 4 playing card decks with 1 on the way, 3 Lenormands with 1 on the way, 72 oracles with 1 on the way, and 140 tarot with 5 on the way. So yeah.
So what's your grand total? Did you?
9:30 at night. So that would be 210, 212, 250, 219 that I currently physically have. And then, 8 on the way? Yeah. So 227.
And would you say that it was a lot of the people that are on YouTube that have enabled you in order to purchase a lot of those decks?
Yes. And many of them are in the chat right now. And I'm chatting to one of them right now.
Let's see.
No, I take full responsibility, but yes, it's a slippery slope once you get into the whole world of tarot tube. Hey Becca, hey Sonia.
I was just gonna say hi Becca, hi Sonia. I think we've seen some hi Patricia or Trish.
Marsha asked how many Lenormand. I only have 3 Lenormand with 1 on the way.
Hi Mage.
Hi Mage.
So would you say from the time that you started reading that and how long have you been reading, but would you say that it has changed, your reading style itself has changed?
Not the style in the sense of in any kind of major way. Only from the perspective of you're learning more, you're taking more on, you're taking different things from the cards that you did back at the beginning. As far as how long, I started back, like I got my first deck when I was like a teenager, and then put it down, picked it up again a good couple of years ago is when I got my Crystal Visions Tarot. And again, that was that kind of moment of, I feel like I've lost myself, and particularly being a psychologist, I feel like studying that took all the spirituality side out of me, sort of thing. You become so focused, even though you're taught to respect everyone else's spirituality. It's like your own kind of gets thrown out the window because it's all about science and research and fact and all of that. And then it was I started my channel 10 months ago, so maybe 14 months ago-ish that I sort of really got into watching everyone on YouTube, and then went down that slippery slope from there of one deck after the other. Yeah. So it's not so much changed in, I guess, the start. Like I've always done simple spreads, and then tried out actual specific spreads with positions and questions and all of that. So yeah, nothing about that has changed drastically. And then now it's adding in things like Marseille, and I should have more Thoth decks than I have Marseille decks, even though I've really not studied the Thoth yet. And yeah, now adding Lenormand to that list. So yeah, it's just evolved, but not changed drastically.
Would you say that you started off with the meanings, or just like intuitive reading?
Definitely with the meanings, because I'm a study person. I'm a knowledge person. I want all the knowledge I can get. So it was definitely, I need to learn what the meaning of this is. But yeah, and then it was probably everything about YouTube and listening to different people and finding different people and them talking about the way they read. So even though some people will stick to the meanings but still include intuition, you've got other people like Tracy at Two Rocks Tarot, she reads completely intuitively and doesn't rely on meanings at all. So you start to see that and you go, oh yeah, that's possible. So yeah.
So would you say it's evolved a little bit then with adding more like of your intuition versus just the meaning? And also do you add other things like chakra color associations when you look at them? Do you add like numerology? Do you add astrology? Anything like that you didn't in the beginning?
Yeah. So yeah, I guess it's evolved a lot in the sense of the intuition side of it with the reading the cards. If I reflect back, even when I'm sitting with a client before I was doing tarot, there were things I would always pick up on intuitively and be able to ask a question and bring that out, and what I was thinking was kind of right. But yeah, so that wasn't there so much at first with the reading. So that part's definitely like, I think the trusting of it in that process of reading the cards has evolved. I don't. I'm getting more into the numerology now, but that's for the purposes of like learning Marseille and everything. Astrology, I have no idea about. Right? No clue. So, and it's not something I want to dive into learning at the moment because my brain is already overloaded. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So do you have any daily rituals that you do?
I like to do like my 3-card draw every day. And yes, I love when that means I sit down at my reading table and light my candles and take time doing it. But I'm also not, I don't have to do it that way. Like, if for some reason I get caught up doing something else, I've only got a few minutes, or I'm not in the mood to sit down for ages and light candles and sit with it, I'll pull the cards out wherever and I'll pull my 3 cards. So it's not like a strict structured ritual that I have. Yeah.
I think that's pretty much how I am. There's certain things that I do, like I grab a coffee and I grab my drink and stuff like that. But as far as like anything that's like really ritual, I think I'm like a rebel sometimes. I specifically don't do it so I don't feel like I'm falling into, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where I'm feeling confined by something.
Yeah.
So do you remember your dreams? And do you do dream work?
I remember some of my dreams. Mostly those really weird, odd dreams that you have. But not consistently, like not every night, or I wouldn't even say every week. I actually have more clearer memories of dreams I had when I was young that I would dream repetitively. There's about 4 or so dreams that were quite scary. Like, to explain them to anyone now, people would laugh or they wouldn't see any kind of scary side to it. But I can think about those dreams I had. I can feel what I felt like in that dream. I can see everything really clearly. And sort of over the years, there's other dreams about different types of, like, there's a certain house that keeps kind of reappearing and stuff like that. So, yeah, I actually remember more about dreams from back then than what I do now. There are some I will write down. Like, I had very weird dreams around my sister and my daughter, and that was particularly when shit with them was going on. And some really crazy stuff that happened. And I wrote all that down and kind of looked through it and was like, okay, well, what's this telling me? But I don't do that consistently. Like, unless it's something that really, really, I go, that was weird, that was crazy, and I feel like it has a message for me, I don't go into it. Yeah.
Gotcha. Somebody did say something up here. Aquarius asks, is your 3-card pull a spread or just like a general read?
It's a pretty general read. It's just around, a very basic question, I guess, of like, what's today going to bring? Pretty much is my 3-card pull. And yeah, I will do other readings. Again, sometimes I'm asking specific questions, just what I feel like I want to ask. Sometimes I'll try out different readings. When I'm trying out a reading that's set out by someone else, I'm usually trying that for fun, because I'll see someone do it on YouTube and it's like, oh, that looks really cool. Like I'll give that a try. But if there's something I want to get a specific answer to and I've got specific questions, I will just ask that based around what feels right. But my general daily spread is just, what's today going to bring? What do I need to be aware of? So, yeah.
Hi, Esoteric Cosmos and Books. I don't think I said hi to you. Let's see. I'm trying to create a ritual that I can follow more regularly.
Yes. Hello, everyone I've missed coming in.
So, what is your favorite holiday or Sabbath?
Well, I don't celebrate the Sabbath. Yeah, because I don't know, I just don't resonate with that. And that's not to say I won't ever, but it doesn't at this point. Holiday wise for me would be around Christmas, but that doesn't really have any kind of, spiritual link to it. It's more because Christmas time, you don't have kids to run to school anymore or wake up in the morning. Life is just easier. So I know most parents whinge when their kids are on holidays. I was always the opposite. It was like, yes, I don't have to be, probably because I'm that non-organized person. I don't have to wake them up. I don't have to be on time for something. Like, yeah, I really enjoyed that aspect of holidays.
That makes sense.
But yeah,
I remember when my daughter, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say there's none that I resonate that much with from a spiritual perspective. Yeah.
Yeah. I was just going to say, I remember when my daughter was in high school and happened to get up every single morning because she didn't take the bus. I had to drive her to school every morning. It was like torture being in that parking lot with all those other people that just were, beep beeps. I'm sorry. They just were, people just trying to get their day started. They don't want to have to deal with teenagers walking out in front of cars, moving vehicles and stuff like that. So yeah, I get that. Not having to deal with that on those days, right? Yeah.
I loved it. And I know Simon
came from that.
Through a question. Oh, do I ever plan to create a deck that links with psychology and the psyche? No. Excuse me. I would love to create a tarot deck if I was artistic. Like, I have all these images in my head of what my full card would look like, what my magician would look like different. I even have that written down of what it would look like. But there is enough in any and every tarot deck that you pick up that you can relate to psychology. Like, there's nothing about my knowledge, what I do, what I teach people that isn't already in the tarot, in any tarot deck, really. So yes, as much as I wish I was that super artistic person who could like paint or draw or something, a deck in existence, it would just be because I would want to have my own deck that I created. It wouldn't be specifically, and because there's nothing I feel I would add to it from a psychological perspective,
It's pretty good already the way it is, as far as psychologically, I would say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Trish, she says, Rachele, what is a beep beep? I think we all know what a beep beep is.
I sell myself short, Simon. Possibly. I no doubt I'll create a tarot deck one day, but whether I actually let anybody else see that tarot deck is a completely different story.
You can always find the perfect artist for it, and you just write the book for it,
Yeah. my daughter's actually a brilliant artist, but whether she would create it, the art, the way I wanted the art created, yeah, I'm not quite sure how that would work, or if we'd kill each other in the process of doing it.
Yeah. So, do you work with crystals? If so, what is your favorite and or favorites?
So one of my favorites is selenite. I don't know. I started to fall in love with selenite, I think, because I always felt like it was, even though everyone loves it, it was like the underdog. Like there was nothing super pretty about it, or it was really cheap to get, so it wasn't rare, it wasn't special. And I kind of like the underdog in every area of life. So
Yes.
that's why I love selenite. My other favorite, and I did pack them to bring with me, and everyone who follows me knows this, is my mookaite. Like, I adore my mookaite. And I have so many different pieces. I love the fact that it's all different colors.
Oh, wow.
And it's just, and again, it's cheap as, it's basically looks like colored rock.
It is gorgeous.
Yeah, I've got a couple of like polished pieces of it.
Wow, look at
But,
that.
like, there's just so many, wrong way, different colors in it, and it's just grounding to me, and I love it. Yeah, so it's definitely one of my faves. There's other ones I love, like the name is labradorite. I couldn't think of the name then. What is interesting is I've never been a fan of amethyst, and I think that's because so many people love amethyst, and I'm kind of like that too. If everyone loves something, I want to be different. I've been like that since I was a little girl, but things that have come into my life, like the ring that I have on, I saw it. It was beautiful. Like it's a rough piece made into a ring. I've got a beautiful amethyst necklace that this person just happened to be selling extremely cheap, and I happened to be there. So I've had all this amethyst come into my life, even though it's probably been the stone I have gone to the least of any stone myself.
Wow.
So that's been interesting. Yeah, but definitely my mookaite is my go-to all the time.
Masha called it too. She said mookaite.
Yes, I have raved on about my mookaite a lot.
It's beautiful. Those polished pieces are stunning. Wow. And I love the variations. I love that you can get two totally, or even more than that, different pieces of the same thing, and it's still mookaite.
Yeah, absolutely.
So do you have a special skill or hobby that you would like to tell us about?
My hobby is tarot. Special skill? Not particularly. Yeah, nothing. I don't know, nothing I've ever, like, I can sew, I can be creative, I can do crafty stuff, all of that. But nothing that I've ever done to that extent where I've become super great at it. Like, I've done it because I've loved doing it. I've done it because it's enjoyable. Not to become super upskilled by it, if that makes sense. Yeah, I've always more been like, I love the creative side, but I'm also more, I guess, first and foremost attracted to the intellectual side of things. So I've more been about reading and learning and researching and that sort of stuff. So yeah.
Right on. I would say that's very balanced, a very balanced mind though. Creative and logical, both sides of it.
I do have both sides, but it certainly doesn't feel like it's a balanced mind most of the time.
I think that we probably all could pretty much say that, couldn't we? Seriously. If people only knew the crazy that's going on in here, right? Yeah. So, do you currently have a favorite book or artist?
One of my all-time favorite books is Joe Dispenza's Becoming Supernatural. That book combines a lot of, not that they talk about it in like the woo-woo sense, but it very much combines the more research side with, people healing themselves. They're actually doing and measuring the energy centers of our body and all of this kind of stuff. And when people are healing themselves from different things, they're doing the actual measurements, they're doing the brain scans on it. And that just fascinates me because it brings those two loves together for me. Not that you'll ever hear him talk about it really in that way. But yeah, that's probably one of my all-time favorite books. Yeah.
What is the name of that?
Becoming Supernatural.
Let me write that down because that sounds really fascinating.
Not me.
Where,
Can I
it's
type?
like you can never find a piece of paper when you need one, right? Okay, here we go.
I can put it in private chat, but I can't seem. How come I can't type in comments? That's weird.
Oh, I don't know. You just did earlier, didn't you?
Oh, I did that on my
in there.
Yeah, I could do it from my phone because it's sitting beside me. See, brain not together most of the time.
Hey, it happens to the best of us.
Well, actually, maybe I can post it in the comments when it's done and uploaded. So that way, if people watch it back, they can see the title of it. But yeah. And he also has awesome meditations that have been like specifically created with certain voice tones, music tones. Love his energy center meditation. Yeah. So
that sounds wonderful. He's on. Does he have a series also on the Gaia channel? Do you watch that?
He is on the Gaia channel. He was featured in What the Bleep Do We Know? I know he was one of the speakers on that. He's got multiple books that came out before this one, but this, like, Becoming Supernatural is his latest one. And even though all these other ones are really good, yeah, this one's definitely my favorite. Yeah.
Thank you, Masha.
Yeah.
She put it in the chat.
Masha.
All right.
Right. Yeah, Simon, sometimes. And then other nights I sleep for like 12 hours. So.
Do you have a favorite TV series that you're watching currently?
Pre-COVID, I pretty much didn't watch any form of television. My hubby and I would put on repeats of Big Bang Theory if we were just having an easy dinner and sitting on the lounge and eating and kids weren't around. And we would put that on specifically because it's a show that ran for so many years. You know it. You don't have to think about it. I like that in a show. I don't like things that get my heart racing or I get deeply involved in or anything like that. But then, yeah, I don't know. I think, and just hearing everyone talk about, oh, I've seen this on Netflix. I've seen that on Netflix. So I watched The Good Witch on Netflix. And I loved it because no big drama happened. It was fluffy. It was like nothing, nothing terrible ever occurred. So you didn't have to get all worked up and involved in it. And
no drama.
I do. Like, I hate, I don't like action movies. I don't like scary movies, anything like that. And I'm someone, I will watch a movie again and again and again because I know what the outcome's going to be. And then recently, The Last Dance, so the one about the Chicago Bulls. So being in Australia, I mean, yes, we aired basketball here, but it wasn't like basketball, the hype over in America. I don't know if it's because my son plays basketball that I took more of an interest in it, but it's just so well put together. Like it's fascinating. It's pretty much all about Michael Jordan, but all the behind the scenes stuff. And yeah, so even though I've never grown up following, like obviously I know who Michael Jordan is growing up, but I haven't followed him, haven't followed the Chicago Bulls, none of that kind of stuff. I only really watched NBA in the last couple of years because of my son's passion. So I watched a couple of games with him. But brilliant, absolutely brilliant. So I'm loving that. Yeah.
Awesome.
But yes, I refuse to watch things like the news and all of that.
So what about like witchy movies or series? Do you watch any of those, or do you have any particular favorites?
No, I watched. I'm terrible with names. Is it like the one with the like Neve Campbell, the three of them in there? Is it The Craft?
Yes, The Craft.
Yeah. Well, I only watched that a couple of months ago because I was sick of hearing everyone in chats talk about how great this movie was.
Yeah.
I'm like, I need to know what this is. Like, I know this thing was out when I was like a young girl, but so yeah, that's pretty much the only one I've watched. And even that, I was like, oh, this is a bit creepy for me.
Yes. Yeah. That set me back, okay? That movie set me back, definitely.
I just like light and fluffy and happy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like Little House on the Prairie, right? Yes. I love Little House on the Prairie.
Yeah. Like the Cinderella movie. I could watch that movie over and over again. You know, it's nice.
Yes.
It's a happy ending.
Yeah. So, do you prefer coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a huge coffee drinker. The beautiful Marsha has just introduced me to some amazing teas. So, yes. But you know, I'm still not drinking those in the sense of just having a cup of tea. Like once upon a time, I used to drink a lot of tea as well, particularly in winter. And I've grown up drinking tea since I was tiny with my grandma. But, you know, with tea now for me, it's more of a meditation thing. Like I will only have it when I have the time to sit down to enjoy it, to take it into a quiet room where no one's going to talk to me or annoy me or, you know, come and interrupt. So, yeah, very, very different experience to, you know, just my 50,000 coffees I have during the day. So, yeah.
What if God and the devil were playing football? Mavon would be the stadium. What man? What is that? Is that from? Are you talking about who she invoked in The Craft? Simon Mano? Is that how she pronounced it? But then you said it, Jen. Tea is a meditation. And, yeah.
Made you happy, Masha. That's good.
From The Craft. Okay.
Oh, God.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, I watched it as well. I watch something and I forget it like 10 minutes later. So.
Not me. I love movies. If I retain anything, it's movies.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that weird? I know.
I can't remember actors' names or titles of songs, band names. Like, I'll know what it is, but I can't recall the names of it. Yeah, I'm shocking like that.
Yeah, always stuck with you. Yeah. Is there a time period that you feel drawn to other than now?
Not in the way that I hear other people talk about it. More, and I don't think it's anything more than stories my grandma told me growing up. She grew up in Dorking in Surrey in England, and she would talk a lot about her childhood, and she always talked in a way where, like, you could imagine. I mean, it may not have been anything like what it looked like when she was there, but you would always create these incredible images by the way she talked, down to the apples that she stole off this particular apple tree, and
Oh,
certain manners that she worked in, and like the way she would talk about the fields and stuff like that. And that has always really, really resonated with me. But yeah, I don't know if it's anything more than just because I grew up hearing all those stories. But yeah, not so much, not in the way I hear other people talk about resonating with different time periods.
so there's nothing like artistically, like movies that you've loved watching that are like time period pieces, specific
Um,
times like Victorian or Egyptian, kind of art sticks out to you from different time periods?
um, Probably more like, the old kind of set in old Italy, and places like that that have all that kind of incredible culture to
Hmm.
them. And yes, when you said the artwork, that probably triggered me. Like those places with the big beautiful cathedrals and buildings and the artwork that came with that.
So maybe the Renaissance period.
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So yes.
So do you like watching like Medici or learning about the Medici family or like Florence or
No, those things I don't learn about. I think like I read a lot of nonfiction growing up. I mean fiction, sorry, growing up. Then after the car accident I was in, so from 15, I was given an autobiography to read, and it was incredible. So then I went on to biographies and autobiographies, and pretty much since then, and then getting into psychology, it was all reading books about the brain, and
Mhm.
not all like textbook books, but interesting stuff about, people would have strokes, and what would kind of come of it after that. Um, yeah, so I haven't. Yeah, so that's kind of where my focus has been. Like these days, I can't even pick up a fiction book. It just doesn't work for me. I can't read fiction. I have to read nonfiction, but it's very specific. Like it's kind of more if it's going to serve a purpose for me, then I'll read it. Yeah,
Yeah. You like, well, I mean, obviously you're a psychologist. You like understanding what gets people to do what they do, right?
yeah,
To
yeah.
see the things that they do. Yeah. I mean, I like that too, but I know that I never could have been a psychologist or psychiatrist because I'm always wanting to offer my advice, you know, instead of just sit there and go, yeah, or whatever. I don't even want to presume, but I would not have been good at it. Let's put it that way. And you know what? Smells and taste. Yeah, I definitely retain those memories or a song. All those things trigger things for me. But reading a book, I have to literally read it out loud to myself in order to retain it a little bit better.
Mm,
It always almost puts me to sleep. So I have to well, depending on what the subject matter is. But yeah, I get too comfortable reading it. And then I'm just, next thing I know, I'm like out, you
yeah,
know?
yeah, yeah.
So,
That's the thing. If I was reading a book, even if it's nonfiction about history, I don't think it would retain my attention because I feel like I'm not going to gain skills by reading. And I'm not saying I wouldn't. Like, that's a very sheltered opinion. Um, but yeah, I want to know the ins and outs of the brain and how it works when different things
mhm.
happen, and things stuff up with it, and what happens to those people. And yeah, so it's a little bit weird like that. But yeah.
So have you also watched stuff that's, because I know you said you don't really like horror flicks and stuff like that, but what about like uh documentaries on like serial killers and stuff like that?
Um,
See, I find that kind of interesting. Just understanding why they do, because in their minds, they have reason why, right?
I've watched bits and pieces of, and I'm trying to think of the guy's name who does a lot of that stuff. I don't know, but he's gone into different sort of prisons where there are people who have like the serious mental conditions, all that sort of stuff. So I've watched bits and pieces here and there, but nothing that I've followed kind of long term or watched it.
Right. I think that would probably take you down a dark hole, but I do find it interesting. Definitely interesting why people do what they do.
Yeah.
So if you could have a deep conversation with anyone during any time in history, who would it be and why?
My grandma. I would have her back, and I would write down the stories that she told us, because you forget so much of it. Yeah, I'd say a lot to her if I had her still here today. Yeah.
Right on. If you could go back to any event in history, what would it be and why?
Yeah, I think still having my grandma here, I think that would be the biggest thing for me. She was a very big part of my life growing up. And you become a teenager, so you become an asshole and you shut people out of your life and you don't open up to them, and it's not cool to be around your grandma anymore. And yeah, so I had that, and then lost her in it was my early 20s, because my son was a baby. And yeah, so to kind of go back and have that time again and just say what I would like to say. Yeah.
Yeah, right on. So, do you have a website or any place where people can contact you for like doing readings and or anything that services that you provide for people?
No, I just put my email address pretty much underneath my videos if anyone wants to reach out. I started a Facebook page, and then because I was realizing like a lot of my friends on Facebook are psychologists, there was a couple of narky things said in other groups, and I like psychology groups. I don't know if it was directed at me, but I don't know that it wasn't directed at me because I had, started that Facebook page and stuff. And I have a couple of psychologist friends who know that I read the tarot and all of that, and they're fine with it. But obviously, for the majority, it's not okay to do that. So I ended up just killing the whole Facebook page. And yeah, the only reason I have an Instagram account is to follow other people. Like, I literally don't put anything on my Instagram account. So I often see people like where it will come up, such and such started following you, and I'm like, oh, that's really nice, but you're not going to see anything at this point.
I did put it down below, but I did notice when I went to it that you don't have any posts. So.
Right. And maybe one day, like if, as I discussed like with you before we went live, I don't know where my future is going. I don't know what I want to do in my future. So there may be a time where I'll work on a website. I'll do more with Instagram. I'll, set up a whole different Facebook profile and attach a page to that kind of thing. But yeah, for now, it's mostly just my YouTube. And if anyone wants to know anything, reach out. You're more than welcome to email me. So yeah, or anyone who's in the Facebook groups I'm in, can just directly message me through there. Yeah.
Okay. So how long have you been on YouTube? Just the length of since you had your channel, or have you been on before that? Just like watching and commenting and stuff.
Yeah, I've had my channel for 10 months, and I was probably only on for maybe 2 or 3 months before that. I know I got on and I listened to like a couple of videos, and I think Kellyanne Maddox was probably one of the first people I saw, like way back before I got involved in Chatting 21, when I got that first tarot deck again as an adult. And I think I pretty much jumped on just a little bit to kind of get reacquainted with tarot again and learn a little bit more. But yeah, it was only a couple of months, so maybe 12, 13 months that I've been on, and yeah, engaging with people, and then all of a sudden, I don't know, it might have been when I was just watching something, and then I saw, it was probably Becca's live chat that I saw first as being a live chat, like kind of pop up in notifications. And I'm like, oh, this happens on YouTube? Like, I didn't even know, you know, I was a Facebook person with like all my psychology before YouTube. So, you know, we'd always be doing lives on Facebook, but yeah, I never even knew lives existed on YouTube until that point. So yeah, and then it just kind of all went from there. Started talking to people. Everyone's been beautiful. So yeah.
Okay. So what direction do you envision for your channel?
Yeah, nothing. I don't want to have specific set goals. As soon as I tell myself I have to do something, it becomes a chore, and I no longer like it, and I no longer want to do it. Wherever it goes, it goes. I want to keep doing what I'm doing. I've toyed with the idea of different like series, but yeah, nothing too different to what I'm doing now, really. Just keep going, and if something comes up and I have an idea in the meantime, I'll add that in. But yeah.
Patsy says, then she met Simon and started buying tarot in earnest. He says, Simon says that he remembers your very first video.
Yes, Simon was actually my very first subscriber, even before my own husband, who I had told I set my channel up with. Yeah.
That is wonderful.
So that's what happened tonight, because, you know, because I'm at my parents' dog sitting and he's at home, and I'm like, it's Amethyst Ascension's the channel if you want to jump on and like check out, so you know not to call me till it's finished. Or like, he's like, no, it's fine, just let me know. I'm like, or support your wife or something. No, that's like, that's fine. Okay, go ahead and take it in. That's okay.
That's funny, because I've told my husband in the beginning, especially when I hardly had any subscribers, you know, you could go and watch them. Are you interested at all? He's like, yeah, not really. You know, I'm like, oh, great, thanks. You know, so I'm like, you know what? Even if you don't want to watch it, just put it on, mute me, and just let the video run. Okay, give me at least that kind of algorithm. He's like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, mine is like, I have the most supportive husband in the world, but yeah, he won't even. I've made comments going, have you liked my video? No.
No. Yeah. That's funny.
Give it up now.
That is funny. Same thing here. So what do you wish to gain from your channel?
I think just a continuation of what I've already gained. I have gained so many beautiful connections through YouTube, and not specifically, you know, just because of my channel, but being part of other people's channels. And yeah, to grow that, to continue that. Obviously, I would like to do more, I guess, that provides more value to people. At first, I was very anti-mixing the psychology with the tarot, and, you know, I think I even say that probably in my first video, if memory serves. But yeah, to mix more of that, to be able to offer that more. But yeah, just to keep with what I have and the beautiful connections, and a little less deck buying would be good. So to have that that ability to watch a video and not want to purchase the deck would be really nice.
Well, I mean, it's got to slow down at some point, because you've got so many now, right?
Have you seen
One would
Simon's
hope.
purchases? I don't think they're.
Yeah, Simon's definitely an enabler.
Sorry, Simon, I'm just putting you right in it here.
Yeah. So this is normally where I open it up for other people to ask questions if you're comfortable with that. Is that cool?
Oh,
All
cool.
right. Let her have it, guys. If you have any questions for her, let us know. Hi, Nancy. Buying tarot never stops. I'm still doing it after 25 years. Esoteric Cosmos and Book said that. Yeah. I'm just saying I would think that it would slow down a little bit. But I mean, probably not, because more decks continue to come out all the time now, probably much more than did 25 years ago.
I thought I had slowed down. I had slowed down. And there wasn't really anything on my wish list. And then all of a sudden it all just turned upside down again. And
Oh, man.
yeah.
It's all these beautiful friends of yours, isn't it? You know, just showing you something new and you're just like, oh, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, that's what Patsy says. You can't slow down when there's so many new ones that come out.
Mhm.
So Simon says, what are you most looking forward to about the future?
Are we talking in general, Simon? I'm taking it as in general. You've asked that question at a very interesting time. I'm in a crossroads place with where I want to be with my future, where it's going to head, where it's going to go. I've been trying to make that decision for a really long time now. And as I kind of mentioned earlier, it's around doing my work as a psychologist, whether I want to keep doing that, whether I want to, I mean, I won't just give it up straight away. I'll take like a 6-month break and then make a decision. But so what I'm looking forward to, peace, finding peace of mind out of my decision is what I'm most looking forward to in my future right at this particular second in time, I think. Yeah.
If you didn't do that, though, is there something that's making you lean towards another path? Is that what you're like teetering back and forth?
No, it's the first time in my life I've had no idea what I want to do. And that's really scary. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Good question.
Yeah, very scary, but we'll see.
So Masha asks, how are your newest Lenormand studies going?
Slowly. Given I only joined up Kelly's course, 2 days ago, Marsha? And every one of her lessons is like 4 hours long. And even though I put them on 1.25 speed, I've got a lot of catching up to do. But I'm loving it. I'm really enjoying it. And I'm hoping I'll get lots of time this weekend to kind of catch up a little bit more. So, yes. But then I think the next live one, which I was hoping to be part of, is at the exact same time that Simon's interviewing Jilly, and I feel like I can't miss that. So I figure I'm watching all the others in replay. I'll just do that with this one. So, yeah.
So does anybody else have any questions?
What is top of my wish list? Ooh. I ordered most of the decks on my wish list, like that were top. The Hush Tarot I really, really want. I know that's not going to be the answer lots of people want to hear because lots of people don't like it. But yeah, I saw again another, I've not watched a full walkthrough of it because I won't watch full walkthroughs of a deck that I think I really want. I want the surprise element if I get it in my hands. But yeah, I saw another part of a walkthrough today and was just like, yeah, that deck speaks to me and I love that deck. So it's up there. I'm sure there's others on the wish list. There's one that, no, I'll never remember the name of it, so I'm not even going to try with that one. I have a whole wish list, but yeah, the Hush is forefront of mind, and probably the 1889 Lenormand as well, now that I'm getting into Lenormand studies. So see, now here I go down another whole bloody rabbit hole. Deck.
Hi, Jade. So Paula says I had 9 decks coming, but one arrived today, so down to 8 at this moment. Oh my gosh, that is just like Christmas. I love it. Masha says, yes, you do need it.
Yeah, Marsha's been the worst enabler of Lenormand, I think, showing all her beautiful decks.
I do have the Hush Tarot, and I thought it was beautiful, and I absolutely wanted it. And now that I have it, there's something about it. I don't know. But to be honest with you, I haven't given it a fair shot either. I have not read through the book. And I think that's probably what is needed for it, is to read through the book and see the creators, reasoning behind the cards and all that. So
yeah,
it is beautiful, but there was definitely a disconnect for me.
That's a shame when you really, like, I've had that with decks as well. You get them, you think they're going to be fabulous, and they kind of work out. Yeah.
You guys didn't like it too much either, huh? Simon and Patsy. Yeah. It is beautiful. It really is beautiful.
Yeah. It's actually a deck I think I would use more intuitively than based on the meaning, kind of like what we talked about earlier. But yeah.
And I could see that more. That's the thing for me. I think some of the cards just do not match up with the meanings for me looking at the pictures, not at all. But I think it was Becca's. I think she was talking about it, and how once she started reading it, I think it was Becca's, when she started reading the book and seeing the connection, then it connected for her, seeing what the creator had wanted for it. So, I mean, I need to give it a chance.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see when I do that. Just could not connect. Gave mine away. Oh.
Yeah.
I actually love all the decay and creators' reasoning behind it. Yeah. Fast as okay. They're just having a little conversation.
Yes, Jane Lenormand is a big rabbit hole, especially when you watch Marsha show all her beautiful Lenormand decks. And then you go and see Simon show his top Lenormand decks.
Exactly. Because it's in tune with the cycles of nature. And since I live on a ranch, it's part of my environment, so to speak. I mean, that makes perfect sense. It really does. The Hush has been so deep for me, though, not as a traditional tarot, but looking into the creator perspective, and taking the deck into the nature. Yeah. That makes sense. So does anybody have any other questions for Jen? Do you feel like you are going to start putting more videos together that have to do with psychology and the tarot?
I think
or maybe a series.
It comes down to getting over that why do people want to hear me talk about it kind of issue. If you know what I mean, like even when I was doing my live and I was showing my Bubba decks and I got the Shadowlands, the only reason I recorded a review of Shadowlands was because both Simon and Marsha talked about it in the live, and I was like, well, like there's hundreds of walkthroughs. Why do you want to hear what I have to say? And it was only that they kind of encouraged me to do it that I did the review. So it's, I guess, getting over myself in that respect, like going, yeah, like, because I feel the same about other people. I can watch 10 different people I love talk about the same deck. Like, it doesn't bother me. I watch it because I like the person, like, who's doing it. I resonate with them. I like to hear their point of view. But it's very different when it comes to yourself. So I guess it's getting over that. And it's not wanting to come across in this, hey, I'm a psychologist, so therefore I know everything kind of way. Like, I don't want it to be about that, because just because I am, it doesn't mean my life's perfect. It doesn't mean I know everything. It certainly doesn't mean I have all my shit together. None of us do, like, in the mental health field.
No, but you have training. So your perspective on things is very important.
Yeah. So, it's definitely, and I've thought about it more and more in regards to, like, once Tarathon's over, and then how I'll sort of follow up from after that. So, yeah. So, but if anyone has any ideas of what you want to hear psychology-wise, whether it's related to tarot, let me know, and I'll happily do it.
I would say, personally, I would say start at like the major arcana and work your way through each one of them on like which honestly, I think the tarot kind of already does that, but from a trained perspective, from your perspective, like if you were able to use it in your practice, how would you use that in your practice to help somebody?
Yeah.
Maybe from that perspective.
Yeah, I'll definitely think about it. I think the other thing that gets in my way is, you hear a lot about, like, Carl Jung with the tarot and all of that. And so I think it's this assumption that if you're a psychologist working with the tarot, that you base your theories on Jungian theories and this, that, and the other, because most people who talk about it, they do. My practice as a psychologist is kind of like my spiritual practice. It is eclectic. I do not follow anyone. I'm not a strict CBT practitioner or a strict DBT practitioner or a strict acceptance and commitment therapy practitioner. Like, I take from all of them and I use what works for the person who's sitting in front of me.
I think that's so valuable.
Yeah, right, but I think that's also blocked me in the sense of people have this perception of this is how psychology plays out. I don't work like that. I'm not a textbook psychologist. I do not follow a textbook at all. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with people who have all that knowledge and follow that. There are certain therapies that have to be very structured and textbook. But it's not me. It's not my personality. So, yeah.
I think that's perfect. I think I could relate more with somebody like that than somebody that sticks to a rigid, doctrine on something like that. Yeah. But that's just me. Hi, Leanne. Good to see you, sweetie. She does have a couple questions. She's like the queen of questions, and she's coming in at the perfect time. She says, what is your biggest timer water at the moment? Your biggest timer water at the moment? I'm not sure I understand that.
No, I'm trying to find time waster, maybe?
Oh, maybe.
YouTube videos?
Time waster. Yeah, YouTube. Yup.
It's a time waster in the sense of there is other stuff I need to be getting done, like important client notes and book work and stuff I really hate doing. But it's not a time waster in the sense of I feel like I'm watching the people I love and adore. I'm supporting them. I'm having that contact back, that social aspect back, even though they're the ones talking, I'm listening or whatever. It still feels like that to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get exactly what you mean. There are things that you're supposed to be doing, but you keep getting drawn into this over here. And if you're doing that, it's hard to be able to do this because you're doing that. So I get
And
it.
I'm arranging bloody rooms in my house. I'm sure that's just a procrastination thing at the moment because I don't want to do all the other jobs like that.
Yeah. So Leanne also asks, do you believe in twin flames or soulmate? And have you met yours?
I don't believe in twin flames in the sense that I guess they're generally talked about. I don't believe in necessarily having a single soulmate. I think we do meet people in our lifetime who we were destined to meet. I believe we come in with a purpose. I believe a lot of that is kind of predetermined, not down to the everything we do, but we have certain lessons to learn that involves other people. So they make up a really important part of that from that soul perspective. And do I believe I've met mine? Well, I guess in the sense that I don't really believe in them as that one soulmate person. If they did exist, my husband would definitely be that person. I don't think I would find anyone more perfect for me. Yeah. So that's kind of my short answer without going on and on and on about that question. I hope that made sense.
Masha says, yes, you do you, Jen. You are wonderful, and I absolutely appreciate how you see the tarot. And I learn every time that I see you talk about it. Right? Go buy your own textbook. That's right. Absolutely.
Masha.
I have said that before with people that say, well, I'm not going to put it on my channel because somebody else has got it on their channel. It doesn't matter. Somebody's coming to your channel because they want to see you. They want to see your perspective. Yeah. So put it out there. You know, we're all different, and that's a good thing. Mm-hmm. What is time anyways? Exactly. And is looking at the screen. He has remembered you, Rachele. I have been getting pictures lately of people having their dogs watching my channel. They're just loving it. I love that.
What do I think of past lives? Yeah, I do believe in past lives, Patsy. I find you talking about them in particular, Patsy, is really, really interesting. I wish I had more knowledge about them like other tarot readers have. And again, I mean, that comes from learning and practicing and all of that. And we can only learn so much at one time. Yeah, I definitely believe in past lives. I do think our souls come back. We come back for different reasons each time. We come back to learn lessons we need to learn. Yeah, very, 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 very strongly believe in that.
I think it's Patsy that got me started on the past life stuff, the readings, because I loved your reading stuff so much, Patsy. I thought it was excellent.
Yeah.
Love Black Cat.
Yeah, and it's interesting. The more I've thought about them, and it has, again, a lot of my like really thinking about it has come from watching Patsy talk about it. When we were talking earlier about some of those dreams I had in childhood, a couple of them in particular are set in like a completely different era. I couldn't tell you what era it's set in. But yeah, it wasn't like modern day sort of thing where they were set. So it kind of makes me go, you know, is there something in that? Maybe more than just a dream that I kept having as a child. Yeah. Hey, Sandra.
Hi, Sandra. I have waiting to get Uncover Your Past Life Oracle from Kickstarter. Just got to wait now for the printing. Oh, dang. I didn't even know about that. It's like I can't find the right stuff on Kickstarter. Like it's not pulling up stuff for me properly. There's like so many different categories. I just type in tarot And
Right.
most of everything that I'm pulling up is like already done past. I'm like, what am I doing wrong here? Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe that's the universe saying, you don't need to buy anymore, Rachele.
I look at it. I've only backed one deck on Kickstarter, and that's the 5 Cent Tarot. And again, I only knew about that because I saw everybody else with the deck. So
Yeah.
and I refuse to start trying to look at what's coming out on Kickstarter because I'm already down a slippery slope as it is. I don't need to go any further.
So Masha asks, have you ever done a past life regression, Jen and Rachele? So have you done one, honey?
No.
I've never done one either. I would like to do one.
Yeah.
But I always find it hard to believe that somebody could actually hypnotize me. Seriously. I don't know if I could ever get to that state because I'm such a control freak. Have you found that you have issues with that with people in your practice?
Yeah, I guess, but then I'm not hypnotizing them. So it's kind of different.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I've not thought about it, I guess, from that perspective of the hypnosis aspect of it. But yeah, I think it would be fascinating to try. Yeah.
I just did start looking yesterday, though, because I had paid for over a year ago a past life regression course on Udemy. And I started looking at actually starting to do it yesterday. So that's funny. Yeah.
Ah, interesting. You have to let us know how that goes.
Rachele, you have to search live projects. Oh, thank you. And no, thank you. No, just kidding. My husband does not thank you.
Seriously. I'm unsubscribing. I'm always threatening Nancy that I'm going to unsubscribe. He's another enabler.
Yeah, very much enablers. I love it and I don't love it. Well, my husband doesn't love it, okay, but I love it. All right, Simon, thank you. Enjoy your lunch.
See you, Simon. Thanks.
Personally, would not do past life regression as have had brushes with loss of life in early childhood. Oh, I would like to start doing past life readings. I find it fascinating. It's my favorite. Past life readings are my most favorite to do. They're just excellent.
I've only done one thus far. Yeah, I really need to get out of that fear factor. And that was a big thing. I want to go back and watch when Patsy was talking about that. Because that's my biggest thing. It's that fear of getting it wrong, that fear of not knowing what you're doing. And it's just like, Jen, just stop, just do it. If it's wrong, it's wrong. Like, if you get nothing from it, you get nothing from it. But put the bloody cards down.
You will.
Right. Yeah.
You will. I think that there's less stress on that than there is trying to answer the questions that people require in the now. Because I see it more as like a reflective kind of thing, looking at what you've done in your past and how does it affect you in your life now. And every time I've done it, people are like, yeah, wow. And it definitely resonates, even if you don't understand it, why it would resonate,
I think my fear with it too is, if you ask anyone in my family, I'm always getting shit for how bad my geography skills are. And geography and history are not my fortes in life. They were not subjects I was interested in at school. I didn't retain any of the information about them. So I think there's a bit of that fear for me too. Like, a lot of people can go, it's from this place or this era, or I don't have that knowledge base, like, because none of that retained in my brain.
Interesting.
So that to me is another fear factor, I guess, in doing it, is I don't have all that knowledge that other people have. Yeah.
That's one thing I will say. I've always been very interested in not all history, but definitely some historical events and time periods, and even associating it with what they wore, what the buildings looked like, how busy the towns were at the time, the cars they were driving, all those things. I mean, I can like see them. But I think that's also because I am an avid movie watcher. So I can associate in my head when I'm doing one, all these things will pop up, you know, in my it's amazing. It's wonderful.
Yeah, I don't even have that to fall back on. I'm not a huge movie person. So I don't even have that knowledge from movies of geographical locations and certain points in history and all of that sort of stuff. So, and I think that does make it difficult if you don't have that knowledge.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Nancy. Have a good day, sweetie. I have had several experiences regarding past life. I have had 2 experiences when first time kissed a guy. Wow. Won't go into details. Oh, now you got to. Paula. Let's see. I love geography and history. Yeah. The not being confident reading cards is why I can't read the cards. I'm always afraid of messing up. Then just make cheat sheets for yourself, honey. For me, that was the biggest thing because I took courses, I read books, and I was always afraid too that I was going to mess it up on the meaning. So I made these. And once I made these, which are my cheat sheets, it was almost like allowing myself, and I would put them up. You know, I don't even have to use them anymore, but I would put them up. And if I felt like I needed to rely on them, I would look really quick and then go back down to it. And I'll go, oh, right. And it's just like small little sentences that you use what that means to you. And it's almost like allowing yourself. Who cares how we learn, you know?
Yeah. And as I said, like in the review I did just do of Shadowlands, like you look at that deck and it's not a difficult deck to read. It's not like looking at the Marielle where it's completely different or any, like it's so RWS. So I just noticed my Marielle cards are flying all over the place. Yet when I did the specific readings from the book, the cards that came out made no bloody sense to me at all. I went back and I haven't read a guidebook to interpret a reading for I don't know how long. I needed to for that. Like, and I found interesting aspects of it. But yeah, so there's nothing wrong with still using the guidebook until you remember. Yeah.
Absolutely. There is no shame in that.
And the little white books, I think, are fabulous when you're just starting. You know, they're short, they're quick. You don't have to read a whole story when you're very first starting out. I think they're great. That's how I started, was with that basic info. Yeah.
And journaling. Pick 1 card a day and journal about it. Writing it down and speaking it or reading it out to yourself. It just different ways in order for you to retain it and repetition. That's why I say these were really good, because it put me in a mode of feeling comfortable enough to do the readings, which meant I did more readings. And the more readings I did, the repetition helped me to remember. So you just got to go for it. Just got to do it. Bye, Jade. I hope you have a wonderful day, sweetie. Yes, totally recommend that. Yeah. Got me into past life readings and the whispering well. My new passion, I think that deck we backed will be very useful. Yes. And yes, journaling. Yeah. All right. Well, it has been about an hour and 40 minutes. So we should probably bring it to an end. This has been wonderful. Thank you so much for doing this with me.
Thank you for having me. And to everyone who joined, it was lovely to see everyone. Lots of familiar faces.
Yes, my pleasure, always. So thank you, everyone, for joining. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day or evening, depending on where you're at. And I'm sending you love and light.
Bye.